Hey y'all, this is Mike White with 143 Vinyl. So today I'm going to do a video that's going to accomplish multiple things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the horrors of remove.bg. So remove.bg is a website where you can take a background off an image. But unfortunately, if you don't pay for the service, then you're actually receiving something that's very low quality. So what you get is something like this. And this is zoomed in at full. I don't have a magnifying glass in my browser. I'm seeing the full size. This is the full size that remove.bg preview mode gives you. So I have never paid for remove.bg. I don't know if their paid service does a good job or not. I would probably never pay for it because I think they charge per image. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the plans. It's either monthly or per image. It's not a good plan if you're doing lots of volume like I am. So I use other techniques to remove the background. I use Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, you can use Photopea. But like I said, the paid service may be okay, and it may do a decent job. Now, I don't trust any automatic background removers because they have a tendency to take background from places where they shouldn't. I trust, professional techniques to remove backgrounds. And so the great thing I'm going to do here now is show you the good part of this video. We're done with the bad part. The good part is about the wonders of AI upscaling and how to overcome some of the challenges that you get from that, and also how to kind of fix the output. And we're going to do all of that. So let's get started. So this is the final result that we're going to get from the AI upscaler. And it's not perfect. I mean, I can see all sorts of things to criticize about this image. But coming from this, which will only print about 1.5 inches wide, and you can tell that by just hovering over the tab in Chrome on Windows, it says 512 by 488. So it's 300 pixels per inch. So if it's 512, it's actually just a little bit bigger than 1.5 inches worth of quality. And you can't just upscale this image. You can't pull this into Canva or Photoshop or anything and just increase the size, because what that'll do is just expand the pixels. I should have come up with an example to show you. And I'll do that real quick. Hang on. So here we have the results of just something that's been expanded in Photoshop or in Canva. You're going to get the same result. And again, you have to click the little magnifying icon in the browser. I'm using the browser as the standard because I figure more people have Windows and Chrome. I'm not sure how it works on a Mac, but I bet it's similar. And if you zoom in on the browser, when you click that magnifying icon, when you are looking at just an image in a tab, and you can get an image in a tab by just dragging it up there and plopping it in a tab. When you click that magnifying icon, this is the full resolution. You're seeing it at full res, and this is kind of what the printer is going to see. And the printer is going to print this, and all this mess and all this jaggedness and faded edges on a transparent will actually have a little white edge around the outside. It's just going to print terrible. So the absolute best thing to do is go get the highest quality image that you can. And so I found this one online, got lucky. And when you see this at full quality, I mean, it's pretty gorgeous. Obviously, it's got some blurry areas, and this might benefit a little bit from some upscaling because it's only 1997 by 1987, but that's almost 2,000 pixels. So that should be able to print, comfortably up to 6 inches wide, and then you can go a little past. You can't take something that's 1.5 inches wide in pixels and print it 12 inches or print it 7 inches or 8 inches. It's just too much. You're stretching your rule of thumb is that you should never do more than double. I mean, double is going to be half quality. And so if you quadruple it, you're dealing with 25% quality. So something like this, printed at 12 inches, wouldn't be so terrible. So as your digital crafting consultant at 143, I would rather actually receive these images with the background on than I would rather receive them with remove.bg. But the best thing would be if I can teach you guys to create images for me that are going to print beautifully. That's my goal, and that's why I spend so much time on education, is because I really want you all to learn how to do this, because it will make my life and my job so much easier. But again, I never mind, so don't mind. Put in what you got, and we'll look at it for quality. If you know it's low quality, please put it in the order notes. If you don't want us to mess with anything and print exactly the way that you asked for it, like maybe you're just running a test, or you're confident in the quality and you're unhappy with the modifications we make sometimes, please put that in your order notes. Say, don't touch it. I know it's good. But we get so much that's bad. I mean, it's literally about 75% of what's submitted is not up to print quality. And again, we don't mind. We want your images. We want your orders. But this is an attempt at trying to make my life easier and try to help everybody understand and make your orders process faster. It's good for everybody if we can all get on the same page. So since I spent the first minute and a half bashing remove.bg and poorly removed backgrounds, you may be wondering how to remove a background. And I have another video on that subject, and I will be continuously making more. There's different ways for different images, and we're going to take care of it on this image later in this process. We're actually going to put the background back on and then remove it again. So I'm going to imagine that all I have, that's that expanded one. All I have is this. I just have this, and I wasn't able to find a nicer image online. This is what the client sent me. This is all I have to work with, and I'm going to try to fix this as best I can and show you how wonderful Gigapixel is. So I'm over here in Gigapixel. It's from Topaz Labs. It's called Gigapixel AI. I don't believe in artificial intelligence. I'm a non-believer. I believe it's an algorithm written by a programmer. But they call it AI, so I call it AI. There are other AI upscalers out there, and I think some of them are even free. This one costs $99 one time, so I really appreciate programs like that because there's no monthly cost. At this point, or at the time that I bought it, it's September 2023. It was $99, and I think that's a fantastic price. So when you open it, it just has this nice browse images, or you can drag and drop. So I'm going to take this remove.bg. Oh, actually, we're going to look at that again. Let me make sure in Photoshop that it's the right size. So sometimes you have images that have actually been expanded slightly more than they should have been. And so in this case, I think this image, let's just close this one that I already expanded. I see some problems with it too. I see some white space that's missing. I'm going to pull this open in Photoshop and do a little doctoring before I even get it into Gigapixel. So I see these areas that need paint. I think that remove.bg has done exactly what I expected. I didn't notice that, but I'm glad to have this example. It's done exactly what I hate about it. And it's actually, and any background remover, I'm not just trashing remove.bg, I'll trash them all at once, all the automated stuff. It's put these, well, you can see it clear as day, it's right there. It has taken away the white where we did not want it to. So I've just made a new layer and pulled it down below, and you can do this in Photopea if you don't have Photoshop. And I've got a hard brush, and I've got white selected, and I'm going to make sure to stay inside the lines, and I'm just painting behind, and I'm going to fill in those areas And I'm just looking for any more. It's probably just all going to be on the white. I'm just going to kind of run over the white. Just, I'm running behind it. So, I'm not hurting anything. And while we're in here looking at it up close, you can see these little semi-transparent pixels that it's left around these edges. Our printer will put white behind those semi-transparent edges. And so you'll get this white glow and potentially think that our printer is out of alignment or has poor quality, because that's what that is. All right, so that's taken care of. And then the next thing we'll do, and you'll notice I zoomed in, but I zoomed back out to 100%. I always want to look at my images at 100% when I'm trying to make a quality judgment. I'm going to do the image size. And I don't know how well this will show up on the screen, but there's little pixelization around this outer edge. And I'm already working with such a small image that I can't go much. But just a little bit of reduction will make that smaller. It's not going to take it away, but it'll make it smaller. And so I'm just going to reduce by 100 pixels there. And now I've got the white restored, and I've got 100 pixels back. So I'm going to, reduced to get a smoother original. And now I'm going to do I'm going to call this remove.bg 400. So now let's go into Gigapixel. Did that a little early. And we'll pull it in. And I have it set on 6x, and face recovery is off. And I'm using the Art and CG filter. That's the best one. I mean, for most artwork that I get, Standard does a good job, and sometimes I'll flip between them, and it takes a second to actually update. It has to think about that. So when it's updated, actually, that's a pretty good result with this. Yeah, I might go with this one. Why not? Let's do it. All right, let's save. And I just have it set on the slowest compression. And so, it's telling me what size it's going. It's going to take this 400 pixel image and make it 2400 because I have it set on 6x. So we'll just save that, and that'll take just a second. Awesome. And now I'm going to close out of Gigapixel to save resources since I'm recording. And we'll just open this with Photoshop. So we have a much bigger image. I see that it has ghosted parts of the image. I don't know if you all can see that, but that's something that's wrong. We've got some ghosting around the edges, and it does this from time to time. So we're just going to duplicate the layer so we kind of get back to something hard. And I might even do it one more time. That's starting to introduce a little bit of mess. Well, the mess is there, so we're going to fix it. So now I just hit Control E twice to merge it down. And I'm using Control Plus to go in. And I'm going to just eliminate this mess manually up here. So we'll just get I've got a hard eraser here. Got 100% hardness. And, we'll just kind of draw. We'll just fix that. Again, we're cleaning up artwork that the client's given us. And, your clients give you artwork all the time, I'm sure, that's not great. And that's why I'm showing you how to do this, is how to clean it up. And if I wasn't recording right now, I'd probably work a little bit more on these edges. You can go in here and you can straighten up edges that you think are going to be spotted. You can literally just click and then shift click and straighten. That draws a straight line in Photoshop. Probably works the same in Photopea. And I said I wouldn't do it, and I can't help myself. And then I would just little things that I think are going to show and call out the image for being bad quality. Okay, so next, I think that we need black or black. So I'm using the magic wand tool, and I have it set to 80% tolerance, which is really quite tolerant, and it's getting into all these edges. And I'm just looking at my selection, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not going to mess with this interior because these letters could get wonky real quick. They're already wonky enough. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-N and do a new layer. And then I'm going to grab the blackest black. and just paint on that layer. And since it was on its own layer, it's actually done a better job than when you drop that paint bucket tool. And now I'm just kind of reanalyzing the quality of that edge. It's not great. You know, you can see it right there. It's not great. So I'm going to try to, undo some of that. So now I haven't painted yet. And I'm just going to shift click again in some of this area that I saw. I'm holding shift to expand my selection. I'm just kind of making sure that it knows I want all of these kinds of pixels. And I hope I'm getting a finer edge. Again, you're working with what the scraps that you're given, as they say, and you just do the best job you can with what you've got. So I'm going to paint again. Oh, I see what I've got. I've got some of this handle here. So we'll just remove that. That 80% tolerance has definitely selected that handle. So let's just we'll grab our regular lasso tool, and I'm holding Alt to cut, and I'm just going to try to cut straight across here. Alt to deselect. Cut is what was in my mind. And so we'll just deselect that. And then as I was zoomed in, I kind of saw that edge, and I can see that it's not smooth. I hope you all can see that on your screen. I'm looking at my selection edge. So I'm just going to do select, and we'll just smooth. And the smooth radius that I'm going to choose is 4. It all depends on the size of your document. And what that'll do is it'll actually take the points, the tips will not be as hard. And you could actually sharpen them up slightly by just drawing. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with that. And that is going to be my selection. And so we should get a better result than we did before. So we Control D and then analyze it. So that's 200%, and I see pixelization. At 100%, I still see some, but it's the best result we've seen so far. And again, I'm kind of looking at my points. One thing that I probably should have done is I should have expanded my canvas by about 50 pixels. We don't like white space on the sides. I'm not going to back up and redo, but that would actually have helped if I'd expanded slightly. It would just have helped from these things getting capped off at the edges. All right, so what else can we do to improve this image? So we see some variations in color. And we're just going to paint in where we see those variations. And I'm just now moving quickly and probably doing a worse job than I would do for the actual client. I've already upscaled this once. So we're just going to paint those in to kind of fix, I'm selecting these areas that didn't get selected. And again, it's not perfect. But at least it's not going to look muddled or mottled. And I really don't see that in the red or the yellow as much. So I'd rather leave those alone. Sometimes less is more. If you do less, it's better. Okay, so now I'm going to select this entire background. And, I forgot to show you the remove background technique. Holy smokes, sorry I said I'd do that and didn't do it. What I meant to do was actually add the white back before I upscaled it, because what that would have done is prevented that little transparency, and then I would have gotten a clean edge regardless. So let's just imagine we'll put the white back there. We'll put it back so that we can take it away. So let's put white, and I'm just going to paint white. So I've got solid white behind this drawing. And then those are our drawn areas that we've already, recolored. And then here's the solid white, and I'm just going to merge down so that all that's connected. So that's on one layer. I've got a white background. Okay. So now we're just going to use the magic wand, and I've got the tolerance set to 80. And I'm just going to select outside. I'll select the inside of this O. That's another reason that it's nice to have that canvas expanded, because it went all the way around the object. And so now that I've got that, I'm just going to, I'm going to actually contract it slightly, because Gigapixel has added these little edges around my stuff. And I know that my original cut was not smooth, so I want to control. Well, we're expanding, so we're pushing in. We're pushing in, and I'm going to go in by, you just decide based on the document, and you can try something and then come back. And you got to look at your corners. I can see it losing pieces there, so that's too much. So I just Control Z that, and then we'll select Modify, Expand by 2 pixels. You always want to go back to your original. Okay, and then we're just going to do Layer, Layer Mask, Hide Selection. And so now we've got, what we believe is a fairly clean edge, and then we're going to put a little bit around it. So we're going to do Blending Options, and we're just going to do a stroke. And it's black, and I'm going to set it to 2 pixels. Actually, I think it looks nice with that stroke. So let's actually put that to 3, 4. And what I'm hoping is that stroke will give me a really strong outline. It works for this image. Oh, and look, you can see problems with the mask. So like right up here, that stroke has helped me see the problems with the mask. And now that I'm looking at it up close, I just don't want it to be so strong. So here, I'll take my mask, and we're just going to paint white on the mask where we want it to be resolved. And just to make sure that we're straight, I'm just going to click here and then hold Shift and go straight across. And that didn't give me exactly what I wanted, so I'm just going to Control Z. Control Z is our friend. And it's filled in that little bit of white there, and if you're obsessive compulsive, you can fix that. And I'm not, and I see the problems with what I've done before, and I'm just rounding that off. So, just kind of pushing back against the errors that we see. So see how you can obsess over this to endless detail, and I don't have time to do that because I don't want to waste your time in this video. But now we'll just file and export that, export as a PNG, and save it. Oh, let's trim. Let's do Image Trim, Transparent Pixels. And now we know we have exactly to the edge. And then I just call it something like upscaled. And we'll replace it, sure. Awesome. And now the end result, you always want to look. And of course, like I keep saying, this is not going to be as good as just starting with an original image. But if your customer is giving you something really, really small, your options are pretty limited. And way better, I think, to go back to something that's really full quality. So that's the final quality. We're going to see all that little mess along there. And I showed you some techniques. We can paint that stuff out. But the important thing is that you've learned not to just enlarge images. You have to redraw them. And I've shown you how to do that in Gigapixel. And I've shown you how to remove a background in a more professional manner. And all these techniques, I think, could be applied in Photopea, which is completely free if you don't have Photoshop. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is Inkscape as an option. So you can literally take these images in. So let's just do File New. I was working on a customer project. You can open up Inkscape, and you can bring in, we'll bring in that original, here's the remove.bg, and we'll embed it in here. And this is much slower, but you can trace in Inkscape and get actual super sharp edges. So we can literally just draw around this object in Inkscape. And believe it or not, I end up doing that for client work all the time. And you can also take different sections. So like we could take this black layer, turn these others off, export that. Let's call it black. And then we can pull that in to Inkscape. And you can do that for the yellow and all the different colors. And then what you can do is you could just have Inkscape trace it. And you know, I'm doing this really quickly. You could actually scale this down before bringing it into Inkscape and maybe get a cleaner trace. Scaling it down will remove the detail and Inkscape won't be as particular based on the image size. So now if we hit OK, we have a vector version, and we can convert all those different areas into vector, and then we can tweak and edit these curves. And actually that did a pretty good job. That's a pretty good, you know, fairly clean trace. The last thing I'll teach you there is like you can simplify, which, you know, creates all of this. Well, you saw all the changes that it made, but it's made far less points, and you can then edit those simpler than you can all the other points. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks for being a customer 143, and thanks for listening to my long-winded rambling videos. I really hope they help in your quest to be a better digital crafter. Take care.